Hey guys, it's Pastor Sam, and today we are doing an experiment called Burning Money. But before we start the experiment, it is really important to remember this one thing. Because we are using fire today, you should never, ever, not one time ever, try this experiment or use any fire without the help of your mom or dad or another adult. So remember, because we're using fire today, we're not going to try this experiment ever by ourselves or ever use fire by ourselves because it can be really dangerous. But because you're going to do this with mom or dad, or because you're just going to be watching right now, let's go ahead and get started. So we've all used fire before. We've used fire when we go camping and we have a campfire. We use it on the stove to cook, and we can even use it for candles. But how does fire actually work? Well, I'm going to strike a match right here, and then we'll see the elements that are required for fire. Fire needs three main things. It needs heat, it needs oxygen, and it needs fuel. This match struck because the chemicals in the matchbook and in the head of the match created the heat. There's oxygen in the air, and the cardboard right here is the fuel. That's why we have fire. And as long as the fire has all of those things, it will consume everything that it has. It will consume all of the fuel. For example, if I take this fake $5 bill and I light it on fire, now there's oxygen and there's fuel, and for as long as it has all of those things, it will burn up. So we know that fire needs fuel, but today, since we're doing an experiment on burning money, we're talking about a very specific kind of fuel. Should we use a $1 bill, a $20 bill, or a $50 bill? Whatever bill you use, I suggest that you don't use your own money just in case something bad happens and you end up without money in your pocket. But today, just because I feel like we should be a little bit daring, I think we're gonna use the $50 bill. So all you'll need is some rubbing alcohol, at least 70%, some water, a bowl, tongs, and some matches. And remember, never ever do this by yourself or without the help of a parent or guardian. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine 3 parts rubbing alcohol with 1 part water. Now, I'm sure you know that alcohol in itself is fuel. It is very flammable, so we want to be really careful with it. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take the money and we're going to dip it in the mixture. So what happens if you take money, which is paper, and it's already very flammable, and you dip it in something even more flammable? What do you think happens? I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and try it out. All right, so make sure that your money is really soaked in the alcohol before you light it. Whoa, did you see what happened there? That is crazy. That is crazy. Look, we have enough flames that even right here, our bowl is on fire, and you saw that the dollar bill, the $50 bill, lit up, but for some reason, it did not burn. And that is so crazy because if you look, there's enough alcohol and it's so flammable that the water itself is on fire, but the $50 bill is not burning at all, and I cannot be more relieved. So once all of the flames are gone, you'll find that the $50 bill not only did not burn up, but it's actually cool to the touch. It's not even hot. So why did the fire not consume this $50 bill? We know that fire needs oxygen, fuel, and heat, and it had all of those things. And we know that if we were to dip money into just rubbing alcohol, the fire would definitely consume the money. So why did it not this time? Well, the addition to the experiment was water. And because water coated this $50 bill, the fire and the rubbing alcohol burned so hot that it actually heated up the water to its boiling point until it evaporated. And it happened so fast that there wasn't enough time for the dollar bill to reach 451 degrees and then completely burn up. So by the time the alcohol heated and evaporated the water, the money was actually safe. I really like this experiment, not only because it's really cool to set a $50 bill on fire and to watch it not burn, but because it reminds me of a verse in Isaiah 43 verse 2. And this is what God says: "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." And what this means, what God promises us, is that even when we go through really, really hard times, if we're this $50 bill and we are worth a million bajillion times more than this to God, but if we are this $50 bill and we go through difficult things like being dipped in alcohol and water and set on fire for this bill, but things that for you and me might just be some really hard things, what God promises is that even when we go through hard stuff, because He is with us, those hard things will not destroy us. Those hard things will not be the end of us because God is with us. God says when you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The hard things in life will not destroy you because God is with you and protecting you. So before we go, just a couple of reminders. Remember never, ever, ever, ever to do this experiment or do anything involving fire without an adult. It is illegal to set money on fire, so make sure that you actually don't set your dollar bills on fire. And remember to always be safe.